Hey, this is Ashley with Sparks Backyard Garden. I want to go over some different things that I'm doing with my succulents today. So you can see here in the tray, I've got several different things. And what happened here, and by the way, this brown stuff, this is cinnamon. So I've been letting everything sit in some cinnamon. Cinnamon is really good for preventing fungus. A lot of different bugs and critters do not like cinnamon as well, and it also helps dry things out. So what I've got going on here, I'm just going to show you. I've got several different things that I'm going to be potting up today. These have been sitting in this tray now for about, I think, 4 or 5 days. And the reason why is because I have done some research online. I've been watching a lot of different people with that have YouTube channels. So I've found a few different soil recipes, none of which have worked with me so far because the drainage was not sufficient for what I was trying to do. I didn't realize that until a few days ago. And what was happening was my succulents were starting to get root rot. And so what I've done over the past couple of days is I've made my own recipe. And this recipe is, we have 2 parts of pumice, 2 parts of poultry grit. I'll talk about that more in just a second. And then 1 part is pine bark fines. I did not actually video the part of me mixing that up together. You'll just have to trust me on this, and I'll go over that in a second. But so what happened was I found that I was getting a lot of root rot with these succulents. So I'm going to be going through, I'm going to be repotting all of my succulents to make sure that everything has adequate drainage. And so what I've done is I actually took this and I tested it. I wanted to see the drainage happen. So this tray it's nice and dry. And here's a bowl of that soil that I told you that I put together. So again, it's 2 parts pumice, 2 parts poultry grit, and 1 part of fine bark fines. And also there's a handful of fertilizer. And so all I'm going to do, start adding this stuff to the soil. I'm just going to firm this in. I want to make sure that it's in well enough to where the bottom leaves are not touching the mix. But also it needs to be deep enough to where it's not going to move out of place. Okay, and this is one of my favorites. This is elephant tree succulent. You can see this is really gritty, and that's what I was going for. What I don't want is too much organic material in this, because that's what was causing the root rot. Let's put this in the middle. You can see I'm still kind of trying to save this from root rot, but it's dry enough now. Oh, and you can see it's actually got a little baby here that I'll be propagating later. So I'm going to move this over to the side. Yeah, that works fantastic. All right, so I'm going to add a few more things here. And something that I'm trying to accomplish is I want to plant these, but I'm also going to be propagating these later. So as you can see, I'm just trying to drop this in. This is not meant to be an arrangement of any kind. It's meaning it's not supposed to be pretty right now. That needs to go just a little bit deeper so it can not move quite so much. Okay, and this is, I'm actually going to add one more thing here in the middle. This is one of the babies that I propagated from this. And I'm just going to drop that in here because, like I said before, I'm going to be propagating all of this later. So something that I've found with succulents is that they are very hardy. They're easy to propagate. They're as long as you're patient, they will work for you. So I've got a few more things here, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud. I'm going to take this, move it over to the side, and I have another pot. I will be using this pot to do a few different things. I'm going to try to brush off a little bit of the cinnamon. So this mix, I tested this and it drains extremely fast. And what I like about that is that it's not going to hold too much moisture. The pine bark fines, that actually holds some moisture, but it'll dry out enough to where it's not going to cause root rot. And this little critter here has some of the cinnamon still, which that's fine. I'm going to try to move this so that it's, oh, by the way, you can kind of see the roots that have formed here, and that's what I'm going to get underneath the soil. I'm going to just kind of pack this down just enough so that it can hold it in place. And it's not going to move too much. And here is, this actually does not have any roots. I'll be checking this here again in a few days, or a few weeks actually. And so what I'm going to do is just put this in here in the soil so it would hold, kind of hold itself in place. Here's another baby from the same plant. I just had a leaf fall off, and that's fine. I'm actually, as a matter of fact, I'm actually going to pull this leaf off as well, and I'm going to set it in place. And that will propagate. Everything gets a chance to propagate. So most of these will create babies, and if they don't, it's no big deal. Everything gets a chance to live though, right? Let me see. This is a leaf that I want to make sure that I give it a chance to propagate as well. And let me see. Oh, so if you look at this, this is one of my leaves from an echeveria. So this has a little baby. You can see the little roots as well as the little baby that's come off of this this leaf. And this leaf is going to eventually wither and die. And at that point, I will just pick off the leaf, leave the baby, and have a brand new plant that's going to be a completely new plant. And I've got several of these that I'm going to be putting in here. And you may or may not be able to see little babies here. But again, I'm going to give this a chance to live and survive. And oh, this is kind of cool. Here's a good example of what I was just talking about. See how this is kind of withering just a little bit? But it's got a nice little root system started, and this is a baby that I've completely propagated from this little leaf. I will sit right here. I'm not going to worry about burying it too deep. Just going to try to give it a little bit of a support. And let's go ahead and stick this bad boy over here on the side as well. It's got a nice root structure. this is super gritty. That's what I'm really liking about the mix that I just made. So this is another little baby that I'm just going to sit in here. And let me see, I've got several of these babies that, again, I'll be moving into a more of an individual pot. Oh, this is a nice little piece. It's nice and dry. See if this is gonna make it or not, because again, these were all doomed. They were rotted. I've actually cut these off. I've cut off the rotted pieces, and I'm putting these back in some good, well-draining soil. And I'll make updates as we go after these really kind of take hold. This one, I'm going to need to bury just a little bit deeper to make sure that it has some support, make sure it's not just going to fall over after I hit this with some water. Let me see. This will probably make babies. This has a nice little baby, you can see. I'm going to set in here. And if I'm not mistaken, this is actually an offshoot of this plant here. So I'm just going to stick this in, and I'll check it for root systems later. This is interesting. I'll have to see if that survives or not. Just going to set that there. Oh, here's another little baby. It's got a nice little root sticking out here at the very bottom. I'm not sure what this little guy is, but everybody gets a chance to survive, right? And we're just almost finished up here. It's amazing what succulents can survive, because I'm taking all of these and giving them a chance to survive the root rot from the last bit of soil. So the last bit of soil, it was saturated, and I'm going to actually show you, if you'll kind of look at this here. This is a pencil cactus, and this is a good example of, look how wet this is. You can see on the end of my finger here, that just shows you that I have not watered this in over a week. It's still really damp. And because of that, let me find a good example. I just saw this. A good example of the root rot. Here we go. Okay, so you can see this portion right here. And so what I'm going to do is watch, just hold on just 1 second. I need to get a pair of shears. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip this here. And it's kind of cool. If you look at this, see the little milky substance? That's something that I do not want to get on my skin because it'll be irritating. But I'm going to drop this in. I'm actually going to add some cinnamon to this as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recycle all of this, but all of this soil that's in this pot. But I want to make sure that I'm not killing this pencil cactus. And you can see how it's kind of, it's root rotted. So, I mean, this would not survive if I left it in this soil. The soil that I used, it had too much organic material. But I should be able to save this pencil cactus. I'm just going to pull out all these different pieces. Oh yeah, you can see that was not doing well at all. And let's see. No, it's not rooted or anything. But which that's fine. It will hopefully have some roots. Oh yeah, that's not doing well at all. So I'm just going to repot all of these different pieces that I was trying to propagate. It's kind of cool. I actually got this, this pencil cactus was really big. I found it on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, and someone had just thrown it out. They didn't want it anymore. So lucky me. All right, so this is going to be, trash. You can see how transparent these are. This was just, is about to rot. So I'm going to take all these pieces that just aren't going to be viable and push them off to the side. All right, that's no good. This may propagate. I'm just going to drop this in here for now. And this may propagate. I'll drop it in. This one it's kind of a little bit soggy. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all these pieces of pencil cactus in my tray here. And something I learned from a YouTuber from Maria's Garden, she's one of my favorites, is that cinnamon works well for just about everything. So I'm going to sprinkle my cinnamon on here. Make sure that this is nice and dry. And I'll be back in just 1 second. Okay, so this is the pot that pencil cactus was in, that this soil is way too wet. It's holding way too much moisture, so I'm just dumping it out. I'm going to use this. I'm going to recycle this. This is still good. I just need to use it more as a base. I'm going to add some gritty substance to this so it's not quite so moist. So this is my mix. I really like this mix. It drains super fast. So I'm just going to add some soil. And this is going to be what I put that pencil cactus back into. All right. Let's head back to my little station. Okay, and here we are. I'm ready to start putting this pencil cactus back into some soil. And this is what I'm going to use as kind of like a little dibble. So I can use this to poke holes. I can move the soil to the side so I don't break this cactus. And as you can see also, this is the root rot. And I'm just going to snip this. Make sure that I have plenty of live tissue. I'm going to snip it just a little bit more. Oh yeah, there we go. You can see how that pencil cactus milk, I'm not sure exactly what that's called, but I want to get down to that because it's live tissue. I'm going to firm this in. This is snip. Good. Stick that in the soil. This big piece here, I think this is going to recover. You can see how it's kind of white on this side. But I'm just going to give this a good snip. Oh, it's kind of tough. Need to sharpen my scissors. Oh yeah, see the milk? It's coming out. I'll put this over here to the side. Man, I love this gritty mix. It's good stuff. Oh, need to put it a little bit deeper. This piece is kind of heavy. There we go. Perfect. All right, I'll keep on going. Let's trim off this root rot. Good. Stick that in there. Just go ahead and trim this off. And you know what? I'm going to make a stem so that this will stick in the soil. So I'm going to chop that. I see milk coming out, so we're going to use that. yeah, these are propagating well. Hopefully it'll survive. If not, live and learn, right? And that, there we go. There's no stem. Let's create a stem. And I will check this in a couple of weeks to see if it roots. And whenever I say I check it to see if it roots, is I just lift, and like this just comes out really easy. If it's rooted, it'll give some resistance. I really think this pencil cactus is going to be much, much happier in this medium. Oh, here's another big piece. It's nice and healthy. Try to put this in here. Try to make it curve just a little bit. And so we're going to keep it up. Take off this little piece of rotted material here. Oh yeah, this pot's going to be full. And this piece is another, it's just colored on one side, but we'll give it a chance. Everybody gets a chance to thrive and survive, right? Sometimes you want to be careful whenever you're putting those pieces in, make sure that you don't break them. The little ones, you'll feel whenever you start putting them in, if you need to use a little thing to make a hole. This pot's starting to get really full, but I'm almost finished. There, and it looks like the rest, oh, I bet we can make this one work. Okay, so hopefully we have saved that pencil cactus by putting it in this new mix that I've been experimenting with. Okay, so I'm about to water this in. Check out how fast this drains. So that's exactly what I'm looking for. Something that goes straight through, doesn't hold water. That's what succulents like for the most part. There are some exceptions, but this is going to work well. And so I hope you guys like this video. It was a lot of fun to make. And again, this is Ashley with Sparks' Backyard Garden.